Hey everybody, it's me, Bonbon623, and my co-host,
Dre Day, every day.
and this is Black Nerd Talk. And today we are talking about the games that shaped us into our gaming styles today.
Yep. And
Okay, I will start. So my gaming style is I'm here for a good time, not a long time. If the game gets too hard and too complicated, I will bail out and I'll never play it again. Um, I will play on easy mode and I will talk shit the whole time, acting like I'm truly whooping ass because I am in my mind.
say to throw it in there, even though I'm a hardcore gamer, if some shit get too hard, trust I will put this shit on easy mode to get past this part and then put it back on normal. So I'm with you on that shit.
Oh, I'll say I'm easy the whole time because again, I'm here for a good time. You
You
beating,
said, "Oh,
you
this is my
laughing at my
go-to."
cheeks too much. It's
And you
not
like this?
fun anymore.
You like this? My go-to move. Say what? Option easy mode. Bam.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be talking about. I'm gonna be like, you're mad, you're losing. Like I'm not playing on easy. It don't matter. I don't care.
Right.
But
It's
how
like
far we got here?
it's like we both saw the same end of game credit. So
I'm saying, but did you win though? But did you beat
right,
it?
right.
So I think the gaming style that lent me to that is I really enjoy RPG games. Like I like the big world games like Chrono Cross, where you have to collect all of these different objects and go to the different area and give it to a certain person to get to the other stuff. I eat that up for breakfast.
So do you think was that like your very, very first favorite game? Or was it something before
I think that was my very, very first favorite game. Of course, I really got into gaming on Sega. I played my
Sega?
cousin's Nintendo, but it wasn't mine, so I didn't have access to it like that.
Another Sega fan because I get a lot of flack because I had Nintendo and Sega, and I always say I prefer Sega over Nintendo. And I had a Nintendo and a Super Nintendo. I like Sega because they had the mature version of the game. And Nintendo, they've always been a family oriented company. So
Mm.
it'll be there's the blood code is on Mortal Kombat on Sega Genesis, but on Super Nintendo, I think it was Dust that he knocked out of people. You know.
Got you.
So
So yeah,
yeah,
Sega didn't, you know how Sega didn't have a save mode unless you got to a certain point, and then you got the little password that you can put in and start back where you were.
that was on Nintendo too.
Okay.
Back on those the cartridge based games, yeah, you
Yeah,
had to
well, I
have
guess that
a
was just a cartridge game thing.
period. Yeah,
Um, so
that
I
was
think
some.
that
I
kind of
believe. I
too.
believe when you got the Nintendo 64 that the cartridges save information or the system did, but that wasn't until Nintendo 64. But that's the only caveat to the cartridges saving information that I can remember.
Mm, gotcha.
Yeah,
So because of that, anytime I would play like Sonic or any of the other Sega games, since they don't save, you just kind of grind until you get to a point to where you can't beat it anymore, you die, and then you move on with the rest of your day. So when I learned about RPG games, once I got over to PlayStation, um, so Chrono Cross was my first like real game, I think, on PlayStation that introduced me to RPG games. Because before that, I had Mortal Kombat and stuff, Tekken.
Chrono Cross. Okay. Every time you say that, I be thinking Chrono Trigger, but it is the same franchise. Just they changed the trigger to cross, correct? Or
Yeah, they're similar in name only. It's supposed to be the sequel, but I don't think they actually have anything to do with each other for real.
oh, okay, yeah,
That's another conversation. But
right.
so because of that, I like I guess kind of like a slow and steady grind where there's a goal in mind that you're trying to reach.
Hmm.
And you have ways to get stronger in the game, perhaps, which I guess Persona is not exactly like that, where you're not necessarily getting stronger in the game, but you can strategize a bit more. So that's
Right.
and Kingdom Hearts is kind of that way too. And they're not very hard games. It's not like I don't know. I mean, I guess it just depends. Like all of the bosses in the games, they're pretty tough, but it's the boss. It's supposed to be.
Right.
Um,
But the rest of the game relatively easy.
yeah,
Right.
I like that. That I can't tell you how many games that I've started playing. It was too hard. I didn't understand it, or I was getting clapped, and I put it down, and I've never looked back.
Trust as a person that has like 400 games,
Hmm.
trust and believe putting games down and never looking back. Definitely a thing.
Hmm.
Guess I'll jump in and throw in the games that shaped me. So for starters, Metal Gear Solid is definitely hands down my all-time favorite series, but it didn't necessarily start me with gaming. Like, I started in like 88, probably 86 to 88. So I think the first game that probably just got me in, that head cocked to the side, like, this is interesting, is Metroid. Metroid on Nintendo. And I would grow into loving Metroidvania. So today, that would translate into the Hollow Knights, the Axiom Verges, um, what else is a Metroidvania? Shovel Knight and stuff like that. But I think that Metal Gear Solid, the very first one on PlayStation that dropped in 1998, that is the first game that made me just go like, what the what the fuck? This is a video game, because they had the whole method of the I could tell you this, like I remember this exactly. So it was one of my friends that lived on the same street had a PlayStation. Well, I had a PlayStation 2, but he had a PlayStation, and he had the Metal Gear Solid demo. And he came down, he was talking about it, and he was like, "Man, you're going around, you're sneaking, and you're doing this." And I was like, it was really intriguing. So I'm like, games are about getting out there shooting people. So you talking about you sneaking around? I was like, okay, let's go see it. Go to his house, play the demo. Now I had the PlayStation 1 that didn't have the analog, the vibrations. So it didn't have the analog sticks. Then they eventually brought out the Dual Shock. He had the Dual Shock. So
That's
I'm
what
playing the joint.
analog sticks are.
What happened?
These
Oh
are
yeah,
what
yeah,
analog sticks are for
gotcha.
people
Okay.
that don't know.
Oh yeah. So he had the the analog sticks with the Dual Shock. So there's a point where you go in the water, you come out the water, and the joystick vibrates. And I remember throwing this shit on the ground, like what, like what the fuck was this? Oh, I'm sorry, you. Yeah, yeah, it was like joystick vibrate. I threw it, shit. I'm like, what the fuck wrong with your joystick? He's like, oh, he's like, man, don't break it. I was like, I wasn't ready for that, but that was when the different level of immersion was coming in. It was like, okay, he was a guard. He was like, okay, you got to sneak around him. I
Mhm.
snuck, stepped in some water, and he was like, what was that noise? And I was like, he can hear, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was like that whole process just kind of started the intrigue. I immediately had to have that game, and then playing it, then getting the story. Everybody, like a lot of people that are serious gamers know about. If you haven't played the game itself, you've heard of Metal Gear, but it's just to be there at the time of release when the stuff we're used to is the side scrolling. It is just such a mind fuck, mind blowing experience,
Mhm.
especially when you get to a point where the game is like that you fight Psycho Mantis and he's countering your every move because you're in the first controller slot, and then you get a call on codec. They're like, "Hey, Snake, he knows everything you're doing. He also reads in your memory card and tells you what games you've been playing." It's like, and he's like, "Put your joystick on the ground. I can move it." And then it's like it. You put it down, the vibration makes it move. It was just such a. It was a. Like I said, to be there at the time of it, as opposed to being going there late, it was just such a mind blowing experience.
Now, Metal
But yeah,
Gear is the game that has that exclamation sound, right?
yeah. I want that as my text messaging sound, and I can't. I had it in my old phone. I can't get it on my new phone. I'm angry.
Uh,
That's another conversation. But yeah, and that was another thing too. There were consequences for trying to go loud. Like let's just say, for instance, you got frustrated with sneaking and you get a gun and you shoot somebody. Well, that gunshot sounds off. Everybody hears it. They call backup. So instead of dealing with three patrol guards, they got five more coming. So now you got seven guys, and they're all actively looking for you.
Mm.
Now, if you're clever enough, you can find a slot to hide, and then they'll send the extras back. Then it'll be the the three that were left, but they're on high alert.
Gotcha.
I think the higher the stages of alert came in with Metal Gear Solid 2. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid had a profound effect on me. And I'm not going to touch on the story because I'll talk the rest of the video. But um Metal Gear Solid, another was Resident Evil. Resident Evil 2 specifically. That was the beginning of survival horror. So it's like, and that was back when they had cinematic, when they brought the cinematic cameras in, towards like the camera view might be from the ceiling, and then you're walking, and then when you get to the edge, they show it from all the way down the hallway, and it kind of added to the effect of like it could be something around every corner.
Mm.
So I would say with that, that led me into Silent Hill, which Silent Hill to me is the best um, survival horror games, period, because they do psychological horror and not simply jump scares.
Mm.
But Resident Evil is the way it influenced me is like when I play a stealth. So Metal Gear Solid kind of hardwired me to stealth. And then Resident Evil with the whole something could be around every corner, that hardwired me to when I with these over the shoulder games, I actually go into a room like military clearance. So go in if the door's on the right, left side first, swing back over to the right behind the door. I that kind of stuff came from me playing Metal Gear Solid and Resident Evil,
Mm.
and then leading into the Silent Hill, which is you never know where something is, so you just got to stay on high alert. And they do these things to where some of the sounds in the well, let me take that back. It's not actual sounds. Silent Hill had a music structure to where they made certain sound effects the actual music as opposed to it being like how we perceive music is like some sort of harmony. It's
Mm.
like now you might walk in a room and you might hear like a doom 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 doom, and it's like you and I figured out that it was music. I will pause when I heard it. I will pause it because the music plays during the pause. And I'm like, oh, that's music. So they really kind of took that whole psychological element because it's like it would sound like something's in there, but it's like, no, that's just the music, and you're just in a quiet, dark room.
Mm.
So yeah. Then Grand Theft Auto 3, that was my first introduction to open world, and that nothing was the same after Grand Theft Auto 3 came out.
That was a
Like
culture shift.
it was for me because oh, and I have to put this in before Gran Turismo 2. And
Hmm.
that's the game that has a bunch. It has all real cars in it, and it just kind of got me into. I used to love driving on the game because for me, driving is really tranquil. And
Mm.
it's like I've said before, like if I'm on the phone with somebody and I want to play the game, I'll turn on something like Gran Turismo because there's no narrative to focus on, and it's tranquil, and I can just kind of be on autopilot.
Can I just
But
like interject real quick?
well, yeah, yeah, throw some in
Just
there.
gave me a good memory for Gran Turismo. I didn't play that, but I played Need for Speed.
Yeah, put it outside. Yeah, have to
I
edit
played
that out.
Need for Speed and Midnight Club 2.
Midnight Club too.
And what I
Okay.
used to do, okay, just remember that I'm a girly girl, okay?
Oh yeah, nah, there's nothing wrong with that.
So what I used to do for Midnight Club 2 is I would get my Barbies and my Brats, and I would be playing on the side, and I'd be like, "Hey, do you want to go for a cruise?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, let's go cruise around LA." So then I would put on Midnight Club, and then I would drive around on the LA map. And when I
Okay.
was done with that, I would go back to my Barbies, and I'd be like, "Oh my God, that was so fun."
Oh, I thought that you was about to say that you would put the game on and then you put your Barbies around like they're watching. I don't know.
I used to pretend like they would go cruising and stuff.
Yeah, man, that is
That's a
hilarious.
different level of immersion.
Right. And you know what's funny about racing games? Kind of going right back to my point. Playing Gran Turismo was cool, and then when Grand Theft Auto 3 came out, it spoiled me to the point where I couldn't play racing games anymore for years because you couldn't get out the car. Because Grant, like back in the day, games were you were either on foot or in the car. And
Mhm.
Grand Theft Auto was the first game that I remember. Well, it was the first game that was done well to where when you get out the car, you can get in the car and and drive around, or you can get out the car and be on foot for a while, just depending on how you wanted to play.
Mhm.
So that kind of spoiled me on racing. But to add to what you're saying, I went to Cidercade a few years ago, and I thought that I had was out of the whole racing thing. Like that actually lasted till a few years ago. But I played a racing game in the whole sit down setup where it's like foot on the gas, driving. And that was like a different level of immersion that kind of actually brought me back to racing games. But it had been years, and it was Grand Theft Auto's fault.
I had one of those steering wheel controllers with the pedals and stuff.
But yeah, see, I'm gonna build one. I'm gonna build one. When I get me a spot, say, yeah, I want to race like I'm in my car in my house though.
Did you get into the Tony Hawk games though? Because I did that too with my brats and Barbies. Right at home.
Tony
Let's
Hawk's
go to the
Underground.
skate park.
Tony Hawk's Underground on the OG Xbox. And
Yes.
that was back when on the Xbox you take CDs and you can burn them into the Xbox and play your music too. So
Hmm.
I would just be listening to my favorite albums and just skating and doing tricks. I love Tony Hawk's Underground. I did miss the original one, like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, like
Mhm.
1 and 2, but I got on it Underground, and it was like, man, it was a thing.
I don't even know if Neversoft is around anymore.
Soft. Oh, I really. It seems like I don't know. That I mean, so they're the one who made Tony Hawk.
Hmm. They
Yeah,
had
I don't.
the eyeball with the thing.
Right. Yeah, I've seen it, but it's like they don't. I don't think I don't know if I play a bunch of their games, but I've seen it.
Mhm.
But like my profound experience games, those companies they just pop right up in my head. But let me see, Metal Gear series, Grand Theft Auto, Metroid. I'm looking at my list, and ten. I forgot from the PlayStation era. Tenchu Stealth Assassin,
That was
and
a game that I couldn't figure out, so I put it down. I never looked back.
that now that's one of those the kids that like From Software, like the Dark Souls and stuff like that. They probably like Tenchu Stealth Assassin because I was reading something somewhere or listening to something and they said that Tenchu Stealth Assassin is from Software, and I was like, what?
Hmm.
It had to be like the beginning stages of the company, but I do love ninjas, so Tenchu Stealth Assassin led me into liking games like Ninja Gaiden, the original, not the Ninja Gaidens from the Nintendo, but the Ninja Gaiden that started on the OG Xbox in 2004,
Hmm.
and then liking Ghost of Tsushima because of the whole stealth samurai sword thing. So, and then of course we both share Tekken 3. That's the fighter that just got me into like, well, Street Fighter 2 got me into fighting games, but Tekken 3 is kind of what took me to a whole nother level. Like, okay, I know the 10 hit combo. I know Jin Kazama's whole move set. I know Warang's whole move set. I know Kazu's whole move set. I know Eddie Gordo, and I'm one of the rare people that actually know how to use Eddie Gordo and not just press buttons. I'm
Hmm.
almost unbeatable with him. But if I got Tekken Tag and I got Jen and Eddie, you're not beating me. It's just, yeah, it's just, I'm sorry, it's just not happening.
Hmm.
And then last but not least, SOCOM U.S. Navy SEALs. And, that was the first game I played to where I had like a team with me
Hmm.
and I could direct them. So it was like, and then you're going in steps. So if you just kind of look at my whole gaming piece overall. I started with Metal Gear and it shot me in the stealth direction. Tenchu Stealth Assassin. I also played Splinter Cell and I played Siphon Filter, but I think Metal Gear is the pinnacle for me. And then getting into SOCOM US Navy SEALs, that's more stealth, but it's like you have to be more calculated because you might have to send two snipers to point chart. Another thing with that, it came with a headset and you could talk to the game. So that was a whole different level of immersion where I could hold circle and go, team out, team alpha, move to point Charlie. And they'd be like, Roger that. And then you see them moving. So that was whole different for me. I don't have much representation of group type games these days in terms of NPCs. You can get it with online, but that was why Ghost Recon kind of grabbed my attention. But the Ghost Recon Breakpoint that took your group away, and I would like to see more group-based military things where you have NPC comrades and you can direct them to go do these things and whatnot. But just overall, yeah, I'm a stealth gamer and I like stealth because it's you have to think before it's like the way you talk. Like to me, I believe you're supposed to think before you speak. And with a stealth scenario, it's just about going in, kind of getting light reconnaissance of an area, seeing where you can go to. Can you fight this? Can you handle this threat? And I also like the up close and personal kill. It's easy to just shoot somebody, but what if I want to break your neck? What if I want to stab you in the chest? And you never knew I was there. So that's kind of what shaped me into a stealth gamer. And even if the game isn't stealth, I'll try to play it in a stealth type way. It's like that's how strong of an effect
That's how my
it's had
husband
on me.
is too. He likes
Yeah,
the stealth games now, and if it's not a stealth game, he'll still kind of try to
I'm
do it.
gonna try it. Even if it don't work, I'm gonna keep trying it.
I am. I've never really played a stealth game before. I think the closest I've ever done was my first person shooter, which was Army of Two.
Army of Two, I got that's battle. That's beginning. No. That's Battlefield that I'm thinking about. Is that? Yeah, Army of Two is something else. Bad Company is what popped in my head, but I do remember Army of Two.
Hmm.
I think what would be up your alley. You heard of the Sly Cooper series?
Yes, I love Slay.
Yeah, those are
That
technically.
is a stealth game.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
right.
those are stealth games.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes.
I
I
just
love
had a moment.
Cooper in the game.
Mm. You know what's funny is I never played them because I didn't know they were stealth. I had a friend tell me, say, "Hey, you ever play Sly Cooper?" I said, "No, I haven't." He's like, "Those are stealth games." So I actually went on YouTube and looked at it. I said, "Oh."
I
So
really
I'm
love the
I'm
TV show.
current. I'm actually currently looking for them so I can get it and just test it out.
I'm pretty sure they're on PlayStation Network.
Well, see, PlayStation does this weird thing to where they'll lock it into the stream because I don't stream games. I'm the
Yeah.
dinosaur that still buys things, so I don't want to just. I don't like the idea of paying perpetually a monthly for this game, and then if I stop paying it, I don't have those games no more. If that's the case, give me all the money back. If you're gonna take the service back, give me my money back at the time of what you call it. So that's
Mm,
that's how I work with that.
mm,
And plus, I like physical. I'm a dinosaur, long live physical media.
mhm.
But yeah, so I want to add it to my collection. I know they have a trilogy, HD trilogy for the PlayStation 3. I think I'm gonna get that, and I think it's a fourth entry. But yeah, I'm actually currently looking for the Sly Cooper so I can see what those are like.
I
But
think
I'm
you're
kind of
gonna like it. They're cute and you have to be strategic, and if you are too loud, then it'll alert them and stuff. So that should
right.
be right up your alley.
Yeah. So yeah, you could take Sly Cooper, and then I'm trying to think. Do you like well, you know what? I know we talked about the Uncharted movie, but do you actually like the games? Have you played any?
I haven't played it. It doesn't really seem to be kind of my style. So the Uncharted and like God of
Mhm.
War and
Right.
Ninja
What's
Assassin.
now why I would say Uncharted. Did you like Tomb Raider to any capacity?
I never played it.
Never play. Okay, I get you. I figured that maybe you would have liked Tomb Raider, and if you like, it's kind of like a chain with these things. It's like
Mhm.
if you like Indiana Jones, you'll like Tomb Raider, and if you like Tomb Raider, you'll like Uncharted. It's like they're kind of, they continue the. There was the seed that started it, and then there were these franchises that carried on the tradition.
Mhm.
So yeah, but there is a light stealth element in the Uncharted 4. I think it's throughout the series, but it's more of a gameplay loop in 4 than in the other ones.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so also Uncharted carries on the tradition from the platforming. And platforming is like the Super Mario thing where you start here, you jump up here, and you jump up here. There's a lot of platforming in Uncharted. That's why I like Uncharted. It really pays homage to some previous games. It's the
Yeah.
third person shooter. It's a platformer. It's a puzzle game. It's a stealth game. It kind of in a cool way without being what's the word I'm looking for? Cliche.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But so what games do you play now that you think this that like for instance me liking Uncharted is because I did like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade growing up.
Mhm.
And but in a gaming sense, I like The Last of Us 2 because that's kind of like if you were to mix Metal Gear Solid and Silent Hill / Resident Evil. So like what games are you playing now that remind you of games that this is how I got here?
Mm.
Or you don't have because I
No,
know you don't play
honestly,
nearly as much as I do. So
no.
so yeah, you might not. But I was just wanted to if there was one that makes say, oh, this reminds me of this.
I guess the closest one would have to be the Persona series, which I just picked up Persona 4 Golden
So
the other day because it's supposed to be similar to Persona 5, and I can definitely see how it is. I haven't gotten too far into it, but I guess it would remind me more of like mm, a mix between Kingdom Hearts and Chrono Cross,
okay,
like the open world where you have to go talk to different
gotcha.
people and stuff.
Did you ever get into Final Fantasy? Or was that
I
never your thing?
tried, but the thing so I tried to get into Final Fantasy 8, but I'm really not good at the strategy games.
Or the turn-based combat
Yeah.
where you
And
fight and then you gotta wait for them to hit you and then you
yeah, because I don't strategy because I was more like because like Tekken and Mortal Kombat raised me, so I just want to fight it out, and that's
yeah,
what was great about Kingdom
I
Hearts.
want a perfect
Fight.
victory. I want a
Um,
perfect victory if I can. That's
yeah.
my thing.
So Chrono Cross and Final Fantasy were very much the strategy girls, and my brain doesn't work that way. And the first
Right,
time I was able to figure it out was with Persona 5. So now I'm like, okay, now I can maybe go back and try these other games.
right,
Well, I'm reaching back for them, but um, Final Fantasy 8 just used to stomp on my head. And I could just never figure it out. I'm pretty sure I got like an hour into the game and just couldn't figure it out.
right. I've I've tried to get into well, so at the time of them coming out, I really was interested in the first Final Fantasy VII. I actually remember the demo, and then I got to a fight, and it was like, okay, it was weird, but I tried to mess with it. I was like, okay, you go into the menu, you pick the attack, he goes over and does it. I'm like, okay, cool. And then it's like, okay, I gotta wait for him to hit me. I was like, okay, this is trash, but he came over and hit me. So what really got me is I picked another attack. He went over and he missed. Yeah, it said miss. And then the guy came back and hit my character again because I think with those it'll be like 3 people. He hit that same character again, and that character was out the fight. And then it's like I got these. I was like, nah. Yeah, I don't like that miss concept.
Like
So
let me just represent myself. Let's just do fisticuffs and call it good.
right.
But
Let's
they
how
weren't
about
doing
we
that back in the day.
you said how about we try this fight with the actual developer that decide to put a mess in here and let's see
Yeah,
who win this fight.
because right now you're just disrespecting me.
Right. Because I don't miss in real life.
No,
That's my thing. So
you know, this never happens in Tekken. What do you mean, miss?
right. Right. So how do you if you were to try like describe like what your play style is like now, how would you describe it? Like, well, I'll go first to give you an example. So for me, if I enter any type of video game, like say I'm in Red Dead Redemption,
Mhm.
I'm automatically going to be like I'm going to be kind of like the front runner. I'm gonna be the person that that has an idea of positioning. So I'm gonna be like, hey, y'all go get over here. I'm gonna get here, and you're gonna flank from this side. I'm coming from the middle, and you come off the backside, and I'm covering this. So I kind of orchestrate how things are due to playing stealth games, due to doing reconnaissance on the area, getting situational awareness, and also making sure that I make sure that I protect the teammates from the positions I put them in. That's just kind of my whole style. Of course, it's going to always be stealth, but see, I also regulate responsibility. So it's like if I know these people like to go loud, I say, okay, yeah, we can send you in through the front because you like loud. But the other stealthers send you in from the back. So I'm coming from the and I'm gonna cover everything else. So you send a loud person in to go loud, they get everybody's attention. The stealth comes from but so like I can position people like that based on the way I play games. So how do you think your play style would be? I guess it would be in an online sense. Do you play online much?
No, but other
No.
games that are kind of like that. I guess I'm more of a berserker where I just run out, guns ablazing, sword
Right.
swinging, and hope for the best.
Just say go through it
No
and just
plans, just
yeah,
fight.
just go right to it. I
Head
mean,
empty.
there are instances where it works, there are instances where
Like Dynasty Warriors. I mean, I'm obviously always going to be the strongest person until Lubu shows up, and then I'm not. Um, but you just
Dynasty
sword
Warriors, what's that?
swinging.
It's a
Dynasty
game.
Warriors. Oh my God, we will get into that in another episode because it's the same game over and over, but they keep updating it and we
What
keep buying it.
what is it?
Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
ask you if you played Fire Emblem because Fire Emblem looks like you don't play that either. Okay.
And like Borderlands, you know,
Oh,
you
you
just
like
go, you
Borderlands?
just you shoot. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. That seems like a good middle ground. I think we could play that.
Yeah.
Borderlands. Yeah.
We
What
got
we got
four
like
minutes left.
four? Oh, okay. So I got mine. Mine says 1 minute. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think I've covered everything with me.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think it's interesting that you have like a streamlined thing that kind of helped you develop into the gamer that
right.
you are. And I kind of just tried different games and haven't really stuck to anything in
I'm stuck
particular,
from
but I do have things that I don't go for. So like sci-fi.
sci-fi. Yeah. I used to didn't like the concept of science fiction because I'm like, how you gonna be halfway real, halfway fake? But
Mhm.
like, there's a lot of wiggle room with science fiction, especially like with a
Mhm.
great writer. And it's like, this may not be reality, but I could see it becoming reality if this would happen. So as I got older, I started liking sci-fi's more.
Well, it's definitely changing a lot. Of course, when I was little, sci-fi was pretty much Star Wars, and I was like, I don't like Star Wars. And so I just
Yeah,
never got into it past that. But I think
I
sci-fi
did.
has branched out a lot now.
I will say I wasn't a fan of the movies don't look interesting. I can't speak on them, but the Star Wars games are always fucking fun.
Really.
Yeah.
I heard there's a thing called stormtroopers and they're not very good shooters.
Yeah, I haven't played I haven't played that one. Yeah.
People are gonna be yelling at me like, "You don't know what stormtroopers are." They're guys in the white
Probably-
suits.
but
I'm pretty sure.
nah, they're probably gonna be yelling at me because I'm the one with the deep gaming knowledge. So I get it too because it's like, hey, I play all these games, but no, I'm not the biggest fan of RPGs. Then I get the fluoride stare. What? But yeah, I guess we can end it here before we get cut off.
All right. Well, that was fun, and this gave me a couple ideas on other topics to bring up.
Right.
So
Sweet.
we will see you guys in 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Peace. 2 weeks.
Bye.